Good evening, children. Hope you are all fine. The last two classes, we saw the first poem, The Castle by Edwin Muir. In the first class, I gave the outline of the poem or the summary of the poem. And in the second class, I explained to you line by line. Hope you all understood the poem, and by this time you are all thorough with the outline of the poem. Today we will go the first lesson, Two Gentlemen of Verona by A.J. Cronin. Students, those who are having the book, your seniors book. If you are having the book, you open it and take the first lesson. Those who are not having, no problem. You listen to the summary of the lesson. Right? Two Gentlemen of Verona by A.J. Cronin. Archibald Joseph Cronin, 1896 to 1981, is a Scottish novelist, dramatist and physician. At first, he was working as a medical practitioner in Wales and London. When he was recovering from an illness, he landed up writing his first novel, Hatter's Castle. He instantly became popular with this novel. So he decided to take up writing as a full-time career. The Spanish Gardener is one of his most notable works. That is a masterpiece. This story tells about two little boys. The story begins with the narrator. Here the narrator gives his own experience. A.J. Cronin gives his own experience. And he narrates the story. What happens a few years back. The story begins with the narrator driving through the foothills. Foothills. What is foothills? A low hill at the bottom of a mountain, or it's called as a mountain range. So when he was driving through the foothills of the Alps is a mountain, a very high mountain, in Switzerland. So when he was going through the foothills of the Alps mountain along with his friend, while driving on the outskirts of Verona. Verona outskirts means they are at the outer part of the city Verona. Two young boys who were selling wild strawberries stopped their car. So in the car, one was the narrator and other one was his friend. These two boys, small boys, they stopped the narrator's car. The small boys appear to be very shabby. Shabby means not neat, very untidy in appearance. And the driver is not keen on buying strawberries from them. So the driver told, not to buy strawberries from these boys because they look shabby, not tidy. Then the narrator's companion gets to know that the boys are brothers. The elder one, aged 13, is Nicola, and the younger brother, aged 12, is Jacopo. The narrator and his companion, finally, they bought the biggest basket of strawberries from them and went towards the city. The next morning, the narrator and his companion saw the same two boys doing some other job. That is, they were shining the shoes for the customers. Shoe shining job, they said. And on being asked, they said, they do many things like this. They do many petty jobs like this for their living. They also tell the narrator and his companion that they could work as a guide and show the visitors places of interest in their town. They can act as a guide. So the narrator asked them to take them to Juliet's tomb. Juliet's tomb is a very well-known, famous tourist spot. And Romeo and Juliet is a famous play by William Shakespeare. So these places, Juliet's tomb and balcony of Juliet and all, very famous tourist spot. So when they told the boys that they want to see these places, they were ready to take the author and the companion to those places. So the narrator asked them to take them to Juliet's tomb. During the time of their stay in the town, the two young boys turned out to be very helpful to the visitors. Then the boys are found with a bundle of unsold newspapers and are ready to sell them when the last bus arrived one night. So one night this author and his friend saw these boys sitting late night to sell the newspapers. The narrator then talks to them and asks them why they are working so hard. He also told them that they seem to fetch sufficient money, so why they were not spending anything on clothes and food. You are working, many petty jobs like this. So by this time you must have plenty of money. But why you are not spending on clothes and food? Niccolo tells them that they had something in their mind, but he does not elaborate. They did not explain to them clearly what is in their mind. Jacopo then requests the narrator to drop them in his car to the village called Poleta, that is around 30 kilometers from there. So the younger brother asked the author to drop those boys in a city called, not a city, a countryside, a small village called Poleta, 30 kilometers from there, to that place. That is, it is somewhere near California. He requests him and says that it would be a great favor. But the elder brother doesn't like his idea. Niccolo does not like the fact that his brother is troubling the narrator. He thought that the younger one is troubling the narrator by asking him to drop in Poleta. But the narrator gladly agrees to help the boys with reaching that place. So the next afternoon, he drives along with the two boys to the village. That is village called Poleta. After dropping them, the boys enter a large red-roofed villa. That is a big villa, a big house, turned into an hospital, which is actually an hospital there. The narrator hesitates to enter the hospital room. He tries to find out from the nurse about the girl patient in that hospital and the boys. The boys straight, they went to a room, and inside there was a girl elder than them, and these boys were talking to that girl. So the narrator asked the nurse about the relationship between the girl and the two boys. The nurse tells him that her name is Lucia, and she is the sister of these two boys, and she is suffering from tuberculosis of spine. So it's a very deadly disease during in the olden days, but not now, because now we have advanced medicines and all. But those days it was a deadly disease, called as a deadly disease. She also mentions that a bomb had destroyed their home, these two boys' home, during the war, that is Second World War. And even their father, a widower, had got killed during the early part of the war. So they are orphans, or the sister and the two boys are orphans. When he died, father died, his 3 children were left to starve. She told the narrator that the boys also started hating the Germans who came to rule the city and even become a part of the resistance movement. The boys were deadly against the Germans, and you might have learned all that in the Second World War in history, might have learned. Okay, in the beginning, Germans, they are called as the boorish people. Okay, they were victorious in the beginning part. It is 1914 to 18, it's First World War, and 1939 to 45, it is the Second World War. So, Second World War, how it started and what was the reason of the Second World War. And German was leading in the beginning. So, during that time, so I don't want to elaborate fully, what happened finally. Yes. So, the boys, Nicola and Jacobo, small boys, they hated the Germans, and they joined the resistance movement also. Once the war was over, Lucia got afflicted with tuberculosis, and the boys had to admit her to the hospital. So they have been trying their best to make payments regularly to the hospital. See, very 2 small boys, she is the elder one, and she is suffering from tuberculosis of spine, and they have to admit her in the hospital, and they have to pay money for the food and for the medicine also. But the boys were doing that regularly. The narrator waited outside the room. He was touched by the love and devotion with which the boys worked for their sister. He understood their character very well and knew that they wouldn't like to have sympathize. The boys, they did not utter a word to the author about their situations. They didn't beg money from them. The boys, they did not tell anything. They did not reveal anything about their present situation. They don't want anyone to sympathize them. So he did not say anything to the boys on their way back to give the impression that they did not know about their secret. He felt that such a humble youth gives our society hope for a better tomorrow. In such times of war, weapons and hatred, still there is a hope for humanity. That is the thing this story reveals us. So this story is merely about love, devotion, sacrifice, sincerity and maturity displayed by 2 little boys in their actions to save the life of their sister who suffers from tuberculosis of the spine. So in that age, the maturity in their mindset, that is a real theme of the lesson. So the title is very apt. The 2 gentlemen of Verona are the boys in the story, not the author and the companion. The real 2 gentlemen, are the boys of the story, Nicola and Jacobo. One is 13 and one is just 12 years old. So it is a very apt title. At the very young age, the boys face the hardship of life. Their mother died early in their life. Their father became a victim of the early war. They suffered due to German occupation. Their home got destroyed. Suffered from starvation and cold winter. The family struggled for life. They found their sister suffering from tuberculosis of spine. It was another shock to these 2 boys. But what happened? Despite facing so many problems in their early life, they did not lose hope. They did not lose hope. The boys' positive approach and determination managed them to give their sister the best they could. They did various jobs. but lived a very poor life to save money for their sisters' treatment and food. They never tried to take anyone's sympathy. Hence, these two boys have every quality of being called the gentlemen of Verona. Can you understand the story, children? Yes. So in the next class, I'll be dealing with the synonyms and antonyms, okay, the important words, and the short answers we'll see in the next class. Thank you, children.